Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah, tonight, which is the 26th night of the Ramadan, we'll talk about a couple of ayat from Surah Al-Dariyat. And these are the ayat that give us the purpose of our life, and it's an important verse from that perspective, that it gives us the why Allah Azza wa Jal has created us, which is a question that every human being asks himself one time or other, and conclude with some answer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us all sorts of senses and mind to conclude, to understand who is the creator, to point towards the creator. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, he sends us messengers time after time, until Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being the last messenger. He sent messengers, and with the clear proofs and evidences to show that they were the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and conclude the hujjah or the proof over the mankind. So it's not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not showing them various kinds of signs and proofs so they can see who is the creator and who are the messengers that he has sent down, and the commands to live by, or to the way, conduct of life, or way of life that he has given to us through the messengers, that a mankind should live by. And all these conclusions, even when anybody makes to understand who is the creator, where he came from, and what happens after he died, and what is the purpose of life, and what is our connection to this who is the creator, meaning the time of the creation and after we die, with this current life, these answers came from Allah Azza wa Jal, and when we ponder on that, we look for a purpose of life. So this surah, Surah Al-Dariyat, says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. That and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and I, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, created not the jinn kind and the humankind, except that they should worship me alone, meaning Allah Azza wa Jal. And that is in a very concise manner. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared, clarified what is the purpose of our creation. And this purpose of creation, as I was saying, that we all ponder about, we all think about, because we, in our lifetime, we see that people come to this world and they leave the world. And we look at ourselves also, and we see that we are going through different phases of life, and we can see that what our ending will be. There's no human being can deny that he is going to leave this world. He is going to taste the death. He is going to die, and his life will be over one time or other. So this itself makes us all think that what happens after we die, and what is the purpose of the creation. And there are people who conclude somehow with incorrect understanding that they came into existence of their own, and they will die, and they will just become part of the part of the earth, and there is no more life after that. And it's a very erroneous kind of a conclusion, because then that means that we don't really have any purpose of life. Then why we are created? Everybody will be thinking of their own purpose of life, and the purpose of life would be limited to this world alone, meaning until we die, and this is it. And that is that doesn't make any sense at all, because if that's the case, then what is the criterion of our actions, of being what is right and what is wrong, while we sense in our life that there are actions which are right, there are actions which are wrong, and if as a human, if we try to conclude by ourselves what is right and wrong, all of us can conclude at different time in different places, as some actions are right and wrong at one time, another time you will go other way around, and same thing can be said about place. And at one place we will say something is right, and the very same action we may say that very same action is wrong, and hence that can create a lot of chaos. And we can see that in the world also, that the kind of a chaos that it has created. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a purpose of life, that purpose of life actually dictates us that what is considered as right and what is considered as wrong, because it is connected to the purpose of life, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and that results into reward and punishment after this life, in the life which will be after this life, which is life forever. Now, the discussion is not here to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to prove that that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was his messenger, and the Quran sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the book of Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Rather, we are talking about the person who believes in that, in this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for him to understand that, okay, now if a person already believes in Allah by rational proofs and believes that book is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Muhammad being the messenger, now this book is saying from the word of Allah that, okay, here is the purpose of life, and this purpose is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Now, in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to the creation, saying specifically that I have created you, I have created the jinn kind and the mankind for nothing but to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Now, a few questions come to the mind, that why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about only the jinn and the men, and not talking about the other creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because there are many creations that we are aware of. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to them because these are the two creations Allah is referring to, that these are the ones who are given the choice. There's given the choice for them to worship Allah or not to worship Allah, or to follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not to follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown them the two paths, the right path and the wrong path. Is the sense of that is given, that as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have given you two paths. And another place Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, that we have given inspire him the goodness and the evilness. And so this inspiration Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put into the humans, we can see that, we can feel that, we can all, no matter Muslim or non-Muslim, would agree on that they say certain things are right to do and certain things are not right to do. And now it all depends on what is the criterion used by that one person or a nation or whatsoever, that what is the criterion they're using. They either use the divine way to say that what is right and wrong, or they themselves will conclude as human beings, as individuals or a bunch of individuals or majority or whichever way they decide. But at the end, it will be the creation of the creator will be deciding the right and wrong. So there are only, in reality, there are two options. Either we take it from the creator or the creation of the creator. And hence, that also tells us what does it mean by worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So worship is not limited to prayers, fasting, hajj, or giving zakah, or other kinds of acts of ritualistic actions to worship. Rather, it is beyond that. When it comes to the worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or worshiping in general, worship is beyond this, because worship is any action that we undertake when we are doing it in accordance to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is considered as act of worship. While when we are when we switch that to obeying and obedience of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we come into the into a way of worshiping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned about this similar kind of a concept in Surah Al-Jathiyah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخِذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ وَخَتَمَ عَلى سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ وَجَعَلَ عَلى بصره غشاوة فَمَنْ يَهْدِهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ اللَّهِ أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, have you seen him, who takes his lust, his vain desires as his ilah or his God, referring to when the man starts doing all his actions based on whatever his desires ask him to do, or whatever his desires decide to consider as right and wrong, then in that case, that his desires become the God in this case. In other words, another creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the desires of the human beings, are also created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the man starts worshiping his desires in that case, and it can be the desires of his own, it could be desires of the others, and that's what it means by worshiping. And hence we understand from that when we say worshiping, worship means to obey somebody, and when we are obeying Allah Azza wa Jal, then we are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we are obeying other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's a man or your own desires, then we end up worshiping the desires or other people in that case. So that will consider as, in a sense, we are making partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the only one who is worthy of worship is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that also, that ma uridu minhum min rizqi wa ma uridu an yut'amun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, look, I seek not any provision from them, from the man, these creations, the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether jinn or men, when he is commanded them to worship Allah alone. So he's not asking them to provide him any kind of a rizq, any kind of a provision, or any kind of a way to feed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he asks for worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we see that other way around. When the people are worshiping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those creatures, they are, as a matter of fact, end up other way around. They expect the one who is worshiping him or them to provide them in different ways. It could be taxations that they will be applying to usurp the wealth of the people, or they will be going and gathering the wealth from the people by force in many different ways. So they are the one who are dependent on things. When we talk about the creator of the heaven and earth, he is independent. And when he is asking us to worship him, it is not that he is in need. This is for our own being, as a matter of fact. And in return, he's not asking us to give anything to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the following ayah, Inna Allah huwa razzaqu dhul quwwatil mateen. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who indeed provides the provision to the people. He is the Ar-Razzaq, he is the provider, Dhul Quwwatil Mateen, the one who is the owner of power, the most strong. When it says Mateen, Mateen as used in the original means strong and stable, whom nobody can shake and move. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not the one who is in need of anything. He is not the one who is expecting any kind of a risk from the people. He is not the one who's asking anybody to feed him. Other way around, he is the one who razzaq, he is the one who provides, he is the one who gives everything to us. We were nobody, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides us different kinds of senses. So Allah to the human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the body and working limbs and all those things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is not the one in need from any one of us to provide him anything. So when it comes to, again, going back to the main subject of today's talk, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has defined us, given us the purpose of life, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we see that obedience of Allah Azza wa Jal, that brings that tranquility and peace to the lives of anybody who follows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and gives us a sense of our being, our existence, so we can live our life according to his command and be successful in this dunya and in the akhirah. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.